Welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about agent safety. Did you know that the real estate industry has been considered a high-risk occupation? And it's been declared that by the Department of Labor? It might also surprise you that 60,000 realtors have been victims of rape, crime assaults, and murder. So on today's episode, we will discuss a few real-life incidents that have occurred in our industry and steps we can take as a community to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our clients. So, I've recently listened to a podcast episode by the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and I wanted to share those stories with my community. So, the first story is an agent that would send out weekly and monthly publications that would appear in public areas, for example, the supermarkets and local shops. So on a monthly or weekly basis, she would do advertisements, for example, to advertise her new listings or to advertise what she's sold in that month. She started to notice that after her showings, she would walk over to her car and there would be notes on the windshield. And it would say something like, "Your hair looks great today," or "You look great today. I love those high heels." And the notes would keep coming and she just disregarded them. You know, she was starting to make an impression in her community and she was very active on social media. So maybe she felt that it was just, something not to be concerned with. It wasn't until she went to the supermarket with her husband after shopping and her husband discovered a note on the windshield. And obviously he was very disturbed by it. And they went to the police department to file a report. Interestingly enough, the police knew or had a suspicion of who it was. And they were right. They said that this particular individual has been harassing other realtors in the community, so they filed a restraining order against him. The notes stopped appearing, so all is good. Several months later, that particular individual was pulled over in a neighboring community. They searched his car, and in the car, they found 3 years worth of publications in boxes in the trunk of his car, and each of the publications were folded on the page where her advertisement was. Quite scary, freaky, disturbing. The second story that they discussed on NAR was a story of a realtor who was hosting an open house at a vacant property, which was new construction in her community. During the open house, she was shot twice. Later that same day, the builder had shown up a few hours later and found her, and she was pronounced dead at the hospital. There's nothing, that they've found on who her killer was. It's interesting because despite these things happening, we still might not be doing things safely. For example, I have a couple of clients that will sometimes tell me, "Deandra, it's just easier if I just book the showing myself. It's only one house." And I always ask them, "Do you know this person? Is it a lead from, a third-party website? For example, is it a lead from Zillow, Realtor, wherever it's coming from? Do you know this person?" And typically they say, "No." Sometimes they'll say, "Yeah, it's a referral," or, "It's a past client," or, "It's a client that I've shown before." But most oftentimes it's usually complete strangers. So I always say, even if you've booked it yourself, send us a screenshot of what you've booked. Send us a screenshot of who you're going to be meeting, their information, so that we can at least send a confirmation text to them so that they know that someone else knows where you are. And it's interesting because now I look at things a lot different. For example, when I was a realtor and I was practicing in the field, I would get annoyed when my husband would ask me, "What time are you coming home? When are you going to be done with showings?" And I guess I was disturbed a little bit because as a woman and as a professional and as an independent contractor, I chose this career and, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do my job, and then I'm going to come home. But now I look at it very differently after being a little bit more exposed to what could actually happen out there if the outcome wasn't so great. I wanted to lead with 5 tips that you can implement right away to ensure that your safety as a real estate professional is at the utmost important level. Number 1, share your location with someone in your family, with an assistant, or with even a colleague. For example, if you have an Android, consider getting an AirTag or some sort of device that you can keep in your pocket that shares your location so that the location is trackable while you're on showings. Number 2, do not host open houses alone, particularly in rural areas or areas that have a lot of acreage. There's strength in numbers as well, so try not to host open houses alone. Also, advise your sellers to board their pets, remove any jewelry, family photos, or anything of possession, because that might attract some unsavory characters. Number 3, when meeting new clients, if they're not referrals but truly strangers, take precautions by meeting them in the office or at a local coffee shop close to the first showing. Let them know that this is part of your office's safety protocol, or simply let them know that you would like to hand them their itinerary and go over their itinerary over a cup of coffee. When in doubt, use technology. There's softwares available that can quickly do background checks on individuals, and you can do this on your phone. Number 4, showing vacant properties. Try to avoid showing vacant properties after dark. Not all vacant properties will have electricity, so you definitely don't want to be showing homes that don't have any lights, especially after dark. Number 5, self-defense. Every agent should take a basic self-defense course so that if engaged in a threatening situation, you have the skills necessary to escape. Self-defense tools such as small pepper spray might also be a good idea. Some of the recommendations are in the show notes below. At 147 Admin, we understand that there are very few career paths where a salesperson will go into a vacant home with a complete stranger. Our scheduling services provide you with an admin team that works 14 hours a day, 7 days a week to collect your client's information, route and confirm your appointments, and send confirmation texts and communication to you and your client. As you know, having another party know your schedule and your whereabouts are one of the most important safety precautions that you can take, and 147 Admin is here to help you. I hope that you've learned something from today's episode that will protect you in the field. Please don't be another statistic. There are simple measures that can be taken to ensure that you make it home safe every night. Until next time, it's been real talking real estate with you today.